dropping fire repellent above Geyserville, Calif, on Thursday. The Northern California wildfires have now claimed 31 lives. And PorterThe Press Democrat, via Associated Press. Good morning. Here's what you need to know: the new rules of health care. The White House has announced two measures affecting the Affordable Care Act that could send premiums soaring and insurance companies fleeing the law's online marketplaces. It said late Thursday that it would scrap subsidies for insurance companies to help pay for the medical costs of low-income people, just hours after President Trump signed an executive order allowing the sale of cheaper policies with fewer benefits. We're tracking ways the Trump administration is unraveling Obamacare. Here are 12. And Margot Sangerkatz, who writes about healthcare for The Upshot, answered 8 questions about the executive order. Undoing another Obama-era deal. President Trump is to announce today that he doesn't plan to certify Iran's compliance with the nuclear agreement negotiated by his predecessor. The administration wants to leave the 2015 accord intact, at least for now, but the president's move essentially kicks to Congress the decision of whether to reimpose sanctions. It won't be easy, as our reporters explain. Even getting Congress, which is deeply divided on the Iran deal, to agree on additional legislation may be beyond Mr. Trump's political skills. Given the drive by some Republicans to strike down the deal and the determination of some Democrats to preserve it, it is entirely possible that Congress will do nothing. A warning to Puerto Rico forever won't last. President Trump warned the hurricane-ravaged island on Thursday that assistance from the federal government was limited, and that the island bore some responsibility for its predicament. 3 weeks after Hurricane Maria hit, 83% of Puerto Rico remains without power, and bottled water is scarce. The president's aides later tried to reassure the U.S. territory that the U.S. government wouldn't abandon it. Our country will stand with those American citizens in Puerto Rico until the job is done, the White House Chief of Staff, John Kelly, said. Want to hear about how the Times cover the Trump administration? Watch highlights of a Time Stock discussion with our executive editor, 2 White House correspondents and our media columnist. Palestinian unity deal. After a decade of hostility, Hamas and Fatah signed a deal on Thursday on the tantalizing prospect of a united Palestinian front. Our correspondents in the Mideast offered a caveat: the new arrangement seems unlikely to improve relations with Israel, which has warned that it could not accept a unity government that included Hamas. Where everything now smells burned. Another result of the Northern California wildfires that have killed at least 31 people. Air quality is rated unhealthy across much of the region. I've lived here 50 years, I've never seen it this bad, one resident said. In a video, we talked to those who evacuated and asked what they took with them. The Daily, your audio news report. In today's show, one of our White House correspondents, Glenn Thrush, discusses a surprise news conference by the White House Chief of Staff, John Kelly. Listen on a computer, an iOS device or an Android device. Business. U.S. technology companies position themselves as vehicles for positive change. Perceptions are shifting. This week, Facebook sent its chief operating officer, Sheryl Sandberg, to Washington as part of a public relations push. The company faces questions about fake news and its effect on the presidential election. Different ads, different ethnicities, same car. Toyota's marketing for its new Camry adjusts to U.S. demographic changes. Uber has overtaken yellow cabs in New York City. U.S. stocks were down on Thursday. Here's a snapshot of global markets. Smarter living dips, both new and old, for a more fulfilling life. Salary negotiations go best if you're straightforward. 5 wine myths debunked by our critic. Recipe of the day: get ambitious with a classic coconut cake. Noteworthy fences promoting freedom. In today's 360 video, walk with the Chinese artist Ai Weiwei through his newest outdoor project in New York City, which reflects on immigration and inclusion. Partisan writing you shouldn't miss. Writers from across the political spectrum discuss accusations of sexual misconduct against the Hollywood producer Harvey Weinstein. The police in London and New York said they were considering assault complaints. The kids who can't. More American teenagers suffer severe anxiety than ever before. Parents, therapists and schools are torn about whether to protect them or push them to face their fears. Baseball's next round begins. The Cubs will again face the Los Angeles Dodgers in the National League Championship Series, after Chicago beat the Washington Nationals 98, and our baseball columnist looks at the overperforming New York Yankees, a young team that starts its series against the Houston Astros tonight, ready for the weekend. At the movies, our critics review Marshall, about the former Supreme Court Justice Thurgood Marshall, and Professor Marston and the Wonder Woman, the kinky origin story of the female superhero. To celebrate the release of a DVD series, we rank all of the films by the legendary animation house Studio Ghibli. We recommend 10 books, and interview the fantasy author Philip Pullman, of his Dark Materials fame, before his new novel is published next week. And The Boss is on Broadway. Bruce Springsteen's mix of concert and autobiography delivers a major statement about his life's work, and a revision of it. Our theater critic reviews Best of Late-Night TV. Seth Meyers was indignant at the possibility the federal government might pull emergency workers from Puerto Rico. It's been 3 weeks. Quotation of the day: "We do not want the flags of Fatah and Hamas, only the Palestinian flag." Monica Faha, a pharmacist, praising an agreement between the main Palestinian factions. Backstory: on this day in 1884, delegates from 25 nations, who were gathered in Washington, voted on what the time was. With 22 votes for, 1 against San Domingo and 2 abstentions, France and Brazil, the Royal Observatory in Greenwich, England, became the site of the prime meridian, the longitude separating Earth's eastern and western hemispheres. How Greenwich Mean Time is displayed in Greenwich, London. David Azia for The New York Times. In the debate to standardize time around the world, France favored a neutral site, like the Azores and the Atlantic or the Bering Strait. But business won the day. Most of the world's shipping, and the railroads heading to the Pacific coast in the U.S. were already using Greenwich Meridian, so the Royal Observatory was the obvious choice. The observatory enforced such structure on the world that it became a target for anarchists, including one in 1894 who sought to blow it up. He succeeded only in killing himself. More than a century later, GPS-equipped visitors to the site will find, however, that they're not standing at 0 degrees longitude. In the 1980s, new satellite data helped reorient the prime meridian 334 feet to the east, where it now runs through a park. Thomas first contributed reporting, ________. Your morning briefing is published weekdays at 6 a.m. Eastern and updated all morning. Browse past briefings here. If photographs appear out of order, please download the updated New York Times app from iTunes or Google Play. What would you like to see here? Contact us at briefing@nytimes.com. You can sign up here to get the briefing delivered to your inbox. Check out our full range of free newsletters here.